Scamming in Hypixel SkyBlock is still a major problem. You would have thought that this is because scammers evolve over time and come up with more elaborate and devious ways to scam people. But no, it's just the exact same scams over and over again. But why? Well, because people keep falling for them. So in this video, I will go over each of the main different scamming methods we see today, and also give you tips on how to avoid getting scammed by each one, because let's be honest, getting scammed is no fun. Without further ado, let's get right into it. Now the first scam is a knowledge scam. This scam mainly targets new players, but experienced players can also be vulnerable. The principle of this scam is that a scammer abuses the extra game knowledge that they have in order to trade with another player and give them items worth less value than the items received, making the victim effectively worse off after the trade. The way to prevent this scam is simple. Go into the auction house and look up the prices of items before you make a trade. To be extra careful, deal only with the auction house and the bazaar instead of a random player selling you items in chat, and you will never get scammed. Moving on, we have the bidding auction scams. Now, you know what I just said about not getting scammed using the auction house? Yeah, completely ignore that. This scam is when a player puts up a very cheap item like dirt in the auction house and claims that the highest bidder of said auction will receive millions of coins or a very expensive armor set, or I don't know, the world. Well, I know this will be a shock to all of you, but he's lying. There is no pot of gold for you at the end of this rainbow, and instead, the scammer will take the pot of gold you just gave him by bidding 1 million coins on a literal piece of dirt and run off into the sunset. Similarly, we have the bin auction scam. This is when a player says that he accidentally put something valuable up for a lower price than it's actually worth. It's almost like there's no feature in the game where you can cancel the auction you just put up with one click of a button. How people fall for this, I have no clue. In reality, the scammer is selling a much cheaper and similar looking item and is trying to make a profit off anyone buying. The easiest way to prevent this is to instead use a mod like not enough coins or something else which notifies you when items are being sold in the auction below the current market value, instead of buying items from people claiming absurd things in chat. In reality, if items are actually being sold well below the market value, mods nowadays allow people to buy them well before the time it even takes you to look up someone's auction house. So this is rarely ever the case. The next scam is slightly more advanced than the previous ones, and this is the fake item scam. In this scam, the scammer will initially seem like he is making a fair trade with another player. He will then cancel the trade and switch to a different but much cheaper item that looks similar, hoping that the victim will not check. He then makes the trade for the cheaper item before the victim realizes that he has been sold the wrong item. There are multiple ways to prevent this type of scam. You can get mods such as Not Enough Updates, which tells you the value of items you're trading to make sure that it is always a fair trade. You can also get the First Sky Reborn texture pack, which I have on right now. Not only does it have cool animations for different weapons and tools, it makes every item in the game look different so that you can tell if a player swapped out one item for a different one. A variant of this scam is the ghost block scam. Now, this is much harder to prevent, as ghost blocks make it seem like a player will have several of a particular item, a common one being enchanted diamond blocks, when in reality they only have one and the rest of them are just ghost blocks. The best way to stop this scam is to only deal with coins or items that don't come in stacks. I mean, even then it can be a ghost block, so just only deal with coins is the safest way to prevent the usage of ghost blocks. And just in general, deal with only people that you trust. If you're just trading with someone you don't know, then they're probably scamming. Now next up we have the service scam. Now this is one of the hardest to prevent scams. In this, the victim will exchange skyblock coins for a service such as getting carried through dungeons or doing slayer quests. Of course, the way this scam works is that the victim pays the scammer for said service, and then the scammer leaves without performing the service. Unfortunately, there is no easy way to prevent this, as the money has to be transferred either before or after the service has completed, so whichever one happens first, that guy can scam the other one. Therefore, you should either avoid doing this altogether or ask someone with a known reputation for not scamming, so it's less likely, but even then, you can get scammed. Finally, we have the worst type of scam, the co-op scam. Now, this is when someone acts nice to you to try to gain your trust, and so that you eventually invite them to your co-op. He then waits for you to log off, and then when you're gone, he steals everything from your island, your loot, your bank account, your life's work, and then transfers it back to his old profile. The way to stop this scam: do not invite people you don't 100% trust to your co-op. It's that simple. Now I'll leave you with some final tips to avoid all the different types of scams. The first being, always trade in one go. Do not trade something expecting it to be traded back in the future. Make sure every trade you do always leaves you with something of equal value to what you just gave away. The second tip is, do not believe the people advertising things in chat. The whole point of SkyBlock is to make money and items and progress. If someone is actively going to go out of the way and put messages in chat, then they obviously mean to profit off this somehow. If you interact with them, then it's likely that you're the person they intend to profit off and therefore scam. Also, they will likely tempt you in with stuff that seems too good to be true. So if that's the case, do not fall for it. And my final tip is, do not drop items onto the ground in any situation. The other player can warp you out if you're in a party together and then pick up the item for themselves. Oh, and another thing, if you like and subscribe, the chances of you getting scammed will go down significantly, so make sure you do that. That's it for this video. Hopefully this time the ending doesn't cut.